Hey guys, welcome back to Sierra Rose Typology. I'm sorry for my lengthy absence. My excuse is that I think I have pretty severe untreated ADHD and I tend to like hyper focus on things and have my little obsessions, and then once that like fizzles out, it just fizzles out and I like cannot force myself to get with any sort of program. But so this one, Blaire White, has been on my radar for probably like a month. And I've been going through this weird little phase in my life of like one maxing. I've been watching Candace Owens a lot and obviously Blaire. And spoiler alert, I do think she's a one, though I'm not entirely sure. This was a case where I had to look back at her history to see like what themes were predominant across time. And that did lead me to lean one, core one for her. But anyways, I, as a nine, I have this kind of like, um, I wouldn't say love hate, but I have an admiration for type ones or people with a lot of one in their type because they're so clear, they're so precise, they're so like unyielding in that like hexad gut type of way. And I think Blaire really embodies that, but kind of funnily enough, when I was looking at her, there's some obvious comparisons to be made to Jeffree Star, who she's had beef with. And I was thinking about her and being like, yeah, she's totally one in gut. And then I thought back to like my Jeffree Star typing, and I gave him a nine fix, and I'm like, what in the world was I thinking? I don't even remember, honestly. It's like clearly he does not have a nine fix. He's probably a one. He's probably like a th not a one, but 371. And it's interesting because they are on kind of like similar trajectories where they're both very much involved in pop culture and glamour and beauty. And also, while externally you think they would be more on the left, their politics are very much on the right, and they have created a niche for themselves, a niche where they are very countercultural, kind of a Hexaddy type of way, but very conservative and unyielding and calling out like woke culture and stuff. And that's a lot of what Blaire does. And I've also always wondered, what would someone who is a core one or even just strongly one influenced with SX in their typing look like? And because to me, that's one of those combos that's just like, how do you make sense of that? It's just seemingly contradictory, but I think that that is what's going on with Blaire White. And I got a little help with her instincts from my friend Ya in my server. We agree that she's definitely not social blind. Like everything she does is very like tapped into social. But she's also, I don't think she's sexual blind either. And I also think that she is contraflow because there is a lot of friction. And also this thing where like she really has turned herself into kind of like this edgy but also untouchable sexualized icon. And I mean she's very provocative, obviously. And in that one kind of style, it says God's favorite. She's on her Christianity arc, very similarly to Jordan Peterson, who I believe is also a core one. So, I mean, she's edgy, she's provocative, she's always like right in the midst of the drama.
You're gonna be on?
Jesus. I thought it was about pride, good emotions, the fuck. The security won't stop following me. Why are you still following me? Do you identify as a bully? So why didn't you do anything when the person was screaming at you and having to be hauled off by his friend? Only when I ask questions respectfully to everyone? Okay. Hey boo, what's up? We're being treated kind of badly here.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Do not engage
This
with the police. Don't engage with
Look how crazy this person is. This is a fan of mine. Get away from me. You're filming me saying these are conservatives, so it kind of sounds like you have a problem. Because at the end of the day, I'm trans. I can be here. What are you doing?
Okay, and also there you see kind of like her like the bitchiness of it, which I love. So I do think she's very strongly three wing four fixed, probably secondary three wing four. And I was also thinking seven wing six in head for her. And gosh, I want to watch this one.
Everything I say is right. Everything I say is 100% true and accurate. So therefore, why would I give a fuck what a dumb fuck thinks of me? That's just how I am. That's how I've always been. Why would I give a fuck what a dumbass rat
Okay.
thinks about me?
So I just gotta get that t-shirt again. Sorry for having great tits and correct opinions. Okay. So that's definitely, I feel like something a one that's not SP blind and has that trollishness and bitchiness from seven and three would do. And here's more of that, the SX flavor. With her image, it's very provocative. I also want to say like it's very precise. And also there is an element of trolling that she does. There was one where she was posing. Oh yeah. I don't think this is the one, but I think she was.
Uniform? And why aren't you in uniform?
So yeah, she was in a bikini and the other one posing with her guns, her automatic weapons. I don't know much about guns, but this is actually really cute. Um, I'm the only person that can dress up as Barbie and still have more plastic inside me. So yeah, I mean, she kind of like pokes fun at the fact that she has had a lot of surgeries to feminize her appearance. And I think also it goes a little bit beyond that. There's this element of having exaggerated sexual characteristics with her image, which there's also kind of at the same time or simultaneously, there's this one-ish focus on being correct, and she will not call herself a biological woman. She's very clear that she's a trans woman. She's biologically male. And her whole thing, since she got on YouTube, has been about bringing a sense of reform to like what is actually a trans person, and that's like the precision again. And also this three wing four, like ew yuck, having to like distance herself from the so-called trans people that aren't really doing it correctly in her eyes.
You look like a woman. Blaire White's done nothing wrong. Your bones look like a woman. We're very blessed to have you as an amazing, beautiful, smart person. My genetics says this is a woman. You're an articulate, amazing person, a beautiful person. The way God works mysterious ways, it creates beautiful things. It just shows you how God works in mysterious ways. I know this in my heart. You're a good person. You love the children.
Okay, so I found that wildly amusing that I feel like Alex Jones is low-key in love with her. It's so funny. And then I did watch this episode she did with Roseanne where they were both like super stoned and drinking. And it was funny, but also maybe I'll try to find it. Even though they were in like a compromised state, Roseanne was just sitting there like she just didn't care, like a bump on a log. And Blaire was still trying very, very hard to be accurate and articulate and well spoken, which I think speaks to like the difference in their gut center. But anyways, we can get into some videos, and I thought this was an interesting portion in this one.
As if it's not. I don't know. When I look at people, this is just me. This is how I feel about things. I actually look at, people that try to create the change in the world that they want to see. I see that as like something commendable, even if I don't necessarily agree with it, right? Like I think that it's probably for the best if you live in a state that you disagree with the policies and you're there to try to change them. And again, for anyone to pretend as if there's any sort of like reality in which people in California, even Democrats lately, are happy with it, is just delusional.
So anyways, like this whole video here, she's kind of like setting the record straight about things that the media is saying about her because she is leaving Texas and they're making this assumption that she's leaving Texas because Texas isn't like trans friendly. And she's like, no, I'm going back to California because she has aspirations to run for public office and she still feels like a sense of allegiance to her home state. But that whole statement about thinking it's commendable to be the change you want to see in the world and just kind of stepping out, even if she doesn't agree with that, she finds that commendable. So I think that's a strong point for core one. And then when I look back to how she started, where she got her start, these are her oldest videos. And it was all, I think, pretty like core one coded. She's talking about female privilege, male victims are funny. So she's addressing like societal ills and getting right into like heavy topics to with again like sense of reform and bringing correctness and the truth. And because she is so dialed into these social issues, I would lean one wing two for her, especially since she's so engaged. Like a one wing nine would probably be a little bit more withdrawn, a little bit more, philosophical, not like out there crusading the way that she is. Um, and again, like I guess this has been like her shtick the whole time, kind of railing against the trans people that aren't doing it correctly. And I'm just gonna click on this one because I'm curious.
Okay, so after my last video, I was feeling a little bit mean and I was feeling like, okay, Blaire, for your next one, you're not gonna make fun of anyone, you're gonna be nicer, and I was gonna do that. But then I came across the Meet the Team page at everydayfeminism.com, which is a list of all the writers and contributors to the website. It has their name, their picture, and their bio, and it's fucking hilarious. And I'm going to show you guys some of the best bios that they have. There's a ton more you can read through. I promise you'll laugh, but here they are. So first up is a girl named Kay. It says Kay is a Canadian, could have stopped right there, girl, non-binary, genderqueer, people queer. I have no idea what people queer means. I've never seen that in my life. Mentally ill, critical feminist robot. You know, I have no idea what people queer means. I genuinely am trying to think of what that means. People queer. I don't know. She includes that she's mentally ill. And, oh, sorry, they're using they pronouns. My bad. And they go on to talk about how they're into gender and identity and feminism and cats. And I don't know, like, is it a coincidence, a literal coincidence, that all these people love cats? Like, are none of them dog people? So here is a girl who's such a special snowflake that it says she has so many identities they won't.
Okay, so you kind of get the picture. She's making fun of like this like hyper categorization that people have been doing with their identities, like getting a feeling of like I'm special, this is my identity through like these endless labels. Um, but yeah, this was another video that for me, well, first of all, it's like tea, right? It's kind of interesting. But it points to me to her having this super ego influence that she would feel the need to record and share this video. So we'll just get into it.
Okay, so I have started and stopped this video 13 times because I am that nervous and scared to make this video. You know, in the past, I've definitely not been scared of speaking against powerful people or people with more influence, money, resources, etc. than frankly I'd ever hoped to have. But for some reason, in this instance, I most definitely am, which probably tells you something. And to be frank, as I'm sitting here, tells me that this is probably the exact right thing to do. If I'm this scared to do it, then I probably should be doing it.
It's the right thing to do, yeah.
The idea of doing this video is something that I've gone back and forth on and that has weighed very heavily on my conscience for about a month, preceding a very disturbing FaceTime call I had with Jeffree Star, who this video is about, as well as other people this video is going to be about as well, which I'll bring in. I was put in a very bad position by Jeffree Star that I don't feel like I deserve to be in, to where I was told things that I'm either silent about and then therefore in a way complicit with some really messed up crap, or I speak about and then put my shit on the line. And I don't feel like it's fair for me to be in that position. And I finally broke yesterday and talked to my childhood best friend about this. And I said, should I be talking about this? I'm scared. She said very plainly, and she's very removed from YouTube and YouTubers and this whole f***ed up world. And she was very honest and said, if this is the right thing to do, if this is where your heart is, then there's no other question. All the consequences, this person having, influence or power or whatever, it doesn't matter. If it's the right thing to talk about, it's the right thing to talk about. So I'm just gonna do it. So contrary to what I think some people think, I have never met Jeffree Star. We are not friends. He had me blocked for many years on Twitter because I was critical of some of his very bad behavior. And a year ago, if you guys remember, when he launched some accusations against James Charles, specifically that James Charles is a sexual predator, I was live saying that Jeffree was a mess for that because
Yeah, I mean, we don't need to
behind the
hear all of
scenes
this.
for that claim. He was promised
Oh,
to
this is
provide
even
them and
just the
then backed
setup.
off
Sorry,
and said,
guys.
I don't want any part of the drama. Here is my opinion. Jeffree has no receipts. I think Jeffree was loving the downfall of James, and now that it's backfiring, he made a video specifically about Jeffree's involvement with Davi Vanity because it's really shady. He then was in my DMs with a quickness to, in my opinion, put out a fire. He didn't want my video to be made, so he came in my DMs, requested a FaceTime. We most definitely FaceTimed. And this, by the way, this video is not about Davi Vanity, okay? This is just a backdrop of how we came into contact, and I have to be specific about that. And basically, he manipulated me into not going forward with my video, said that a bunch of the things that were out there were fabricated. A lot of the receipts I planned on using were fabricated, was very convincing about it. And then a few days later, went on Chris Hansen, went back on all of that.
Okay, sorry guys, this is so much drama and backstory. But anyways, so she found out that Jeffree Star was using his connections and like power in the scene to get dirt on people for the purpose of blackmail and control. And he tried to get some sort of like social leverage with her by reaching out to her and sharing like blackmail dirt that he had on someone else, a fellow YouTuber who had been acting creepy, like sex offender stuff. And so I guess she was just so disgusted by that by the fact that he was leveraging that information for the purposes of blackmail instead of doing the right thing and taking it to the authorities or whatever. So that to me speaks to like a lot of super ego influence, where say if she was a core 3 wing 4, she might. I mean, you never really know. I think super ego shows up differently in different people, but she might have just ignored it or went along with it. But the fact that she felt she had to come out and make this video calling him a monster and sharing everything that happened, to me, it speaks to really strong super ego influence. And the thing with super ego is that it doesn't mean that people who have a lot of super ego influence are always going to do the right thing and be the most moral. But I think that it trips them up more. And if that they are doing something that's amoral, they have to go through a lot more, more involved of a process of like justifying it and legitimizing it in their minds. And probably going to feel more of like a weight in their conscience when they aren't living up to their own standards. And especially, I think for someone who's very one influenced, those standards are very internal. They have their own internal sense of right and wrong. And that's also something I've seen with Candace, who, as I'm sure you guys know, has been causing all sorts of a ruckus lately by demanding answers over Charlie Kirk's assassination and calling out his organization he left behind, TPUSA, for all the inconsistencies and all that stuff. And she doesn't really care about if she's damaging her side. It's just this very like hexad one thing of like, I'm going to get to the truth. I'm going to do what I know to be right, regardless of who it pisses off. And that's why you see her acting that way. And it's kind of interesting because there's a whole lot of like six fixed influencers and conservative Christian stuff who are absolutely foaming at the mouth right now because she won't just stop and get in line, and just like kind of mindlessly support her side, like that whole kind of like unhealthy six tribalism thing. But someone who's a core one just isn't going to do that. And one thing I appreciate about Blaire White is that, she is a conservative, but she's calling out the Trump administration, like, where is the Epstein list? And the way she actually came on my radar is that she interviewed a victim of Jeffrey Epstein on, I think her main channel, which is this one. But yeah, it's like, that's the strength of one, is that they're going to do what they believe is the right thing, regardless of the waves that it causes. And I think that's kind of inspirational to a nine-wing one, um, like me. And I guess we can look at, she does a lot of this type of content, so we'll just check it out.
You're so offensive. You're an offensive person, human being.
Okay.
Just so
Well,
you know.
I find a lot of things over here offensive as well.
Oh, wow. Yeah, you're disgusting.
And I have to, trust me, the feeling is more than mutual. You're fake as fuck.
I didn't hear that.
But you felt it.
Felt what?
You're fake.
I felt what?
You're fake.
I'm fake?
You're fake.
The thing is, James thinks he knows more about trans rights than you do.
That's absolutely
And he doesn't. And he doesn't.
I've
And no
never
matter
said
how
that.
much,
That's
you know,
not true.
he doesn't. I think you're the one that said that I was erasing you as trans. I am. Like, you're not trans. Like, there's a medical definition of being a transsexual.
I'm gonna stop you. Jamie, how are you doing?
And you hear a lot of like calling people out on like what she perceives to be fake or incorrect.
I'm okay.
You okay?
Yeah.
Do you feel like talking? You don't have to. Okay.
You guys killed 30 people in the COVID 2020 riots. Yeah. Anyways, next topic. We have to say all violence is wrong.
I'm not.
Someone get a Xanax for her.
Oh, keep it cute, girl. Keep it real cute.
Being a non-binary person that sometimes has the choice to either go into a men's restroom looking like this, looking like this. You can look at me looking like this.
It's just interesting. I thought this was a trans debate. That's what I
don't
thought.
even.
Non-binary
That's what I
people,
thought.
non-binary
I
people
will
fall
fall
under the
under
trans
I will say
umbrella.
that.
No, they don't.
Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe you could educate yourself a little bit
I
on
think-
that.
I think I
and
could
maybe
educate
then you would
you.
figure out
I think I could educate you.
and who is not.
It can be.
We're talking about restrooms. As a trans non-binary person, when I go into a place that only has men's and women's restrooms, and I'm dressed like this, my choice to go into the men's restroom at that point
In the military, people forget that most places, if we're talking about feet on the ground and really going into war zones, are really dangerous for trans people. And so it's really an extra risk.
You're talking about the culture that exists over there.
Yeah, the Middle East, you know, it's
so
like that's not exactly
the
trans
friendliest
friendly.
place
It's
for
actually
us,
the
yes.
opposite. The medications that we take sometimes put us in conflict with being able to actually be combat ready. But there is some nuance here, obviously, like if there was a trans cook or a trans medic. I'm not
Okay, so like even just a word on her posture and like body movements, it's very precise and rigid, as ones are. And there's also this sense that she's like looking down on you. And you can get this sense that she really cares about being factually correct, and that goes again to like being very precise, very located, very exacting.
Parents. Why I made a Patreon. Your parents screwed up. It's okay to say so. That's why I made a Patreon, so that we could talk about it, so that we could connect in a way that has more privacy, so that we could talk to each other in a way that's more open, and stuff that we wouldn't share like in the comments of a video like this.
What is this character how is this a real person? Outwardly and openly saying, kids, come talk to me in private. I'm gonna need this person's hard drive searched immediately.
Your parents screwed up.
Yes, there's also that, like calling out people that have like gross, creepy, predatory vibes and demanding justice. Um, More points for one. Um,
Take Blaire White, for example. She is
That's a
a
cute
trans
picture.
woman, albeit a conservative one. But instead
So
of
that
advocating for change or pushing people to be more accepting with her very large platform, Blaire throws trans people under the bus in order to be seen.
really? I'm throwing you under the bus. I couldn't lift you if I tried. One thing about it, when you're talking about our own kind, right? Our kind, us, I have nothing in common with you. Quite literally, I don't even think you are actually transgender. And so, the things that you and I have in common, the list is smaller than your IQ. I will say, this is actually a very nice video. Y'all said it was a hate video. I'm actually very relieved and flattered that you would create distance between us even more than there already is for anybody that has, eyes to see. I'm glad that you're distancing yourself because this is only a good look for me and other transsexuals who want nothing to do with you.
Take Blaire White, for example.
yeah, so there's a big hit of the 3-wing-4 influence where there's kind of like this bitchiness and like, yeah, that's not me. And so 3 is also an assertive type, and so is 7. So that kind of creates this polarizing bit of a firebrand media profile that she has cultivated. And just kind of like leaning into the controversy, being bitchy, being kind of fabulous, for lack of a better word. But yeah, I think she's okay, we'll just watch one more.
You Blaire White. I want to get that out there.
Why do you think someone like Blaire White is so desperate? Yeah.
She makes a fuck ton of money in sponsorship.
Did the child of the richest person on the planet just criticize me for making YouTube videos to make money? That's actually shocking. That's shocking. First of all, it's a false premise to even act like the pursuit of money is something inherently wrong. Sorry, I have to survive. Sorry, I'm not a Nepo baby, Vivian Musk. Sorry, like, I actually never received $1 from either of my parents.
You Blaire White. I want to get that out.
Okay, so again, she's like calling her out on the obvious reality that it's ridiculous, whatever, but there's that being precise, being correct, the obvious 3-wing-4 influence, and then I didn't really get into it as much here. I should have done a little bit more homework, but there is like a really strong 7 presence that she has, even though I think she's probably head last, where she just doesn't care. It's that double assertive thing of like 3 and 7 coming together. So 3 and 7 coming together, yeah, where it's like this very irreverent thing that is kind of like balanced out by the superego of 1. So guys, let me know what you think in the comments, if you agree or disagree or what you think of Blaire White. So I've got her as a 1-wing-2, 3-wing-4, 7-wing-6, SxSo. Thanks guys, bye.